Well, hello and welcome today to Conversations with Lightworkers and Starseeds. And I have a very beautiful soul sister, Christy Levy, and we just spent a couple of magical weeks together. She and her partner, they do retreats, and Christy is also a teacher, and she has classes called Basic Training. She mentors people, but one of her highest magical skills that I love is she does mediumship and readings and spirit guides, and they're amazing. She's one of the best in the world at this, highly gifted, and she also has a program of light language activations, and you can find out more information at christylevy.com. And right now, she's offering a relationship class, and I'm in it. So we've been talking about relationships for several weeks, and all my friends are. So this is amazing. So welcome, and thank you for joining me.
Hi, beautiful friend. Thank you for having me. I don't know if I'm going to live up to that introduction, so we'll see.
Of course
It's
you
pretty nice.
will. You're
Yeah,
absolutely
so
amazing.
oh, yeah, this relationship series, it's actually came about because the start was to create a course, a relationship course like this, a romantic relationships course. And in doing that, it felt overwhelming as we would start to talk about it and how would we address this and what. And usually our courses come out very easily. They're all channeled, they're very quick, and it's easy, it flows. So I just had the inspiration to let's have a 4-week coaching series on the topic. And we have this great, beautiful community of all kinds of people in different stages of life and at different perspectives. So we'll just get them together and do this coaching series and see where everyone is and what then we think would come through and be the most beneficial for a relationships course. That's how it started. I realized I don't know anything. So
I thought
it's
the first
funny.
session went really great. It helped me see relationships from lots of different other people, other lifestyles. I mean, it was really just one call. It was really informative, and I will tell you, um, you it made me think. Um, so anyway, and then we got questions. So I was journaling about that this weekend, and so another thing that you do is the Unimaginable Life podcast, and that's your favorite word, unimaginable life.
Unimaginable.
So the last channeling session you did was on Rumi and relationships. So we got a lot of information about that. And I listened to it again today. Those messages were profound. Like waking up and viewing your partner as new each day.
Mhm.
And I sort of view people as a tone, or, if you could really treat everyone kindly. And I think, and what is love? And I'm noticing people talking about love and being afraid to love. And I think I think I don't know if you can kind of elaborate on that because it's really interesting. I've heard several people this week, probably because I'm in the class and talking to people about relationships. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's people, it's funny how I guess what we attract into our life. I start down this path of thinking about this in my own personal life and then creating a course and doing this coaching series. So what I'm focused on and what seems to be the dominant lesson, whatever that I'm going through in my life, then I find that everyone else seems to be doing the same thing. And everyone talks about love, right? They talk about, okay, we are love, we want to express our love. But one of the more profound things I understood is everyone is really afraid to it's not to fully love, but it's to be that vulnerable so that they share with someone, or lots of people, all of their contradictions, all of their fears, their what they perceive as their limitations. They share that. And in doing that, it's like this base feeling that everyone has is that I'm not lovable. So if I express my love, then I become vulnerable and share these things. Well, the real me isn't lovable. It's only me with the mask of being smart or funny or pretty or generous or something like that. And the realization for me that I'm everything and nothing is what started to make that easier, right? To let that go. Sure, I'm generous, but I'm also really stingy and I'm everything in between. Yeah.
Yeah.
And really funny sometimes and really dull and boring sometimes. And everyone is. So that package of acceptance, to accept someone else and know that they're everything, absolutely everything. And so are you. And the reason people love you is not because you're smart or funny or generous or pretty, but we believe it is. So we keep having to behave that way all the time. And if we don't, something happens, we lose all our money, we can't be generous anymore, then it goes all the way to I'm going to be homeless and alone because I can't be generous. And so no one's going to love me because I'm not lovable, just like I am. It's the strangest, like, human condition. It's
I know. I
very
mean,
interesting.
and it's often I see it in some of the kindest people. They have their hearts closed, or, they might be beginning a relationship and they can't say the words, I love you. I'm like, that's just words. I mean, you can, you do feel loving emotions. And and that's in movies. I see it. Oh, I can't run around. I tell people I love them all the time, um, because love is something that I feel in my heart for people in my life, and it's easy for me. But I'm seeing where people have this block where they can't say I love you to someone or hug someone or simple little acts of kindness.
And connection,
And
right?
that's it. They're a little bit resistant to connecting, and anyway, that vulnerability piece is
Hmm.
important. And like you
Yeah,
said,
it is a why are they really reluctant or resistant to connection? Is it that they think they're going to be hurt? Probably on the outside crust of it, sure, maybe. That they think they're going to be seen, I think is more accurate.
yeah,
Because if I'm distant, I'm quiet, then I don't have to face that you don't love me because I'm back here and you don't know me.
yeah,
But if I let you know me and you still don't love me, now now we have an issue.
yeah,
I think that's more what it is.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's been interesting because I've had this conversation with so many people recently, and I think to myself, you know, and the idea that I think one important one is there's only one person here on the planet for me to love. I mean, that I think that is part of it too. Um, Old systems like not being able to share your partner, like jealousy, all these things come up in relationships. And they're just patterns that you've learned or that you know, that's one pattern that I see in people too. But it's not, it's something you learn to do. And so what are your views on like sharing the world with everyone?
With everyone. Well, okay. So a couple that's kind of deep. That's a big question. A couple of things. And to when you said there's only one person on the planet or in the universe that I can love, and that's myself, right? So that's a long journey. And you came to it with a lot of work and some of it natural. And your ability to flow your love was something that came quite naturally once you did some of this work. I saw it. I saw it happen so
Mhm.
quickly. But for me, it was a bit more to go through to say how do I love myself and what does that mean exactly? And going through the motions of loving, finding ways to love everything in my environment, the table, the cat, until I worked up to more difficult things like my child, even though I love her. But as you flow love and see that perfection in someone else, that's really what it is, to constantly see the perfection. This person is really me in a them suit, right? You're Christy in a Tami suit in our interaction. And everything you do is for me. Everything you do, even if you roll your eyes and stomp your feet or say something mean, right? Even if that's the case, you are doing that for me, jumping up and down to show me that I'm limited. I've got some little limitation and you just want me to look at it. And the minute that I do, you're free. You do not have to do this thing anymore in our relationship. Now, that's a deep concept, right? But once once I started to really understand that the idea of keeping anybody that I love from exploring anything they want to, meaning keeping a friend from exploring a new career that takes her across the planet. I might not like it. I might have to process that, but that's my own stuff. My negative emotion around that is my own stuff. And that goes all the way through to my child and a romantic partner or whatever it is. I don't want to limit them that much, I know. So if I know that and they have something that they want to explore, whether that's skydiving or another relationship, right? It doesn't matter what that is, or a one night stand, or it does. I don't. It doesn't matter what it is. Anything that they want to explore. I may have negative emotion about it, but I know what to do with that. So, what I say is, I may feel jealousy. I may feel fear that I'm not enough, right? Why would you want to go skydiving when you could die? I may think, why would you want to spend every weekend painting when we could be together and now what am I going to do? Okay, all those things. Or why do you want to go out on a boat with some girl named Jennifer when I'm here by myself? Okay, all the same thing. None of them are any different. None of them are any different.
Uh-huh.
But what my job is, my commitment to you, one of my best friends on the planet, to anyone that's in my life, especially those people that are really close to me, the only thing I can promise you is that I commit to see your perfection,
Yeah,
which means
I love
no
that.
matter what you want to do, no matter what I perceive you did to me for a second, right? Doesn't matter. I understand that you are perfect. You are right and perfect in every moment for me. So that means I go inside. So I might at first say to a partner who says they want to explore another relationship, whether it's for 10 minutes or a week somewhere or something, I might feel jealousy. I might feel upset. But my first reaction is very likely going to be, well, okay, give me a minute. Hey, just give me a minute. And I'm going to get by myself. I'm going to process that. Now, is it going to take me 5 minutes or 5 months? I have no idea. But that's what I want to be. And I want that freedom for myself and for everybody I love. So does that answer that? It was pretty
I
long,
think
but
it does. And I think that's the thing that I admire the most about you, that you see the perfection in everyone. And I will say, I sort of had a saying, like I looked at people with angel eyes. In other words, I try to soften and see their perfection and love everyone because I mean, they are all us in other suits, and that is what oneness is about. But I try to embody it, and but I think your excuse me, your romantic relationship is designed for you to see, to really go in hard on this idea and go within. And I think that, of course, that's where the class is going, and it's a tough topic. And I think relationships are changing, and that is why, because often people look outside and say, the reason I feel bad is you, when you've got to look inside and say, no, you feel bad because you feel bad. There you go.
Right. You feel bad, right? Because you think that for some reason you're not enough. You have some limitation, right? You have some limitation on you. And you and I very well know. I mean, we're really close friends and we have been for a number of years. And there's no problem. In fact, we love it if you meet a new friend and you bring that friend in, because here's what I know. If you love her, I'm going to love her. That's
Yeah.
just the way it is. And I would never want to. So I have learned in my life in romantic relationships, doing it in a way or attempting to in this way, and in friendships, that when I love several people, my capacity to love expands. So when I meet a new friend and I get close to her and I really love her, when I go back and look at you, at Tami, somehow my capacity to love you has gotten bigger and more. Well, how is that possible? Because it grows exponentially, it multiplies, it's not cutting the pie. Time is another story, right? Time is something else to work with in that romantic relationship, because a romantic relationship tends to, and our dead people, Rumi and Anais said this to us, that it's this expectation of and permanence. It's a permanence, expectation, and stability, or something, right? That we demand from that relationship, and that is really the opposite of intimacy,
Hmm.
right? Because intimacy embraces change and movement and expansion. So we sort of get ourselves in a little bit of a pickle, but the time one is interesting. How can we only have this much time together in a week, but you want to spend some of your time with, right, some other love interest of, a romantic nature. And that is really challenging. And I guess I'm not suggesting that everyone go down that path. It brings up a ton of fear. um for me, this has been a long time walk, starting at maybe, in my 20s, of seeing things. So that's 30 some odd years at least. It's step by step. But just to say about a romantic partner, to be able to say, I really don't want to limit this person. And we don't see that our abundance and our love and all of these things, we think it comes from that person, right? They have the health insurance. So if they want to quit their job, I bark at them. What are you thinking? You can't do that until you have another job, right? So I'm completely limited, not because of them, because I'm worried that I'm going to lose my health insurance. So I'm going to put them in a position of being the one soft place they can land. And yet I'm also saying they have to do this thing that they're miserable,
Yes.
because I think that, no, my health insurance might appear to come through there, but my abundance comes through me and whatever avenues those. So if this one moves out of the way, that's fine. It'll show up somewhere else. We don't give people that freedom in a romantic relationship,
Yeah.
right? We just usually we don't. It's everything that they do affects me.
Yeah.
They leave their
I
socks
was,
on the floor,
yeah, and I
whatever.
had this discussion with Donald the other day. He went through, gone through some manifestation events. My partner is not like me. He hasn't been through the boot camps and learned how to process manifestation events and
Yep.
perspective shifts the way that I did. But he was having some issues at work. And I looked at him, I said, well, if you're that miserable, why don't you just quit your job and leave? He said, I can't do that. So we put ourselves in a box, and you were talking about that. Um, the deconstruction, like really deconstruct that really hit me when you said that when we were talking the other day. That really hit me, and I think I do that a lot, but I don't know, like deconstructing the limits around the idea of relationship is a lot of what this class is going to be about, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Deconstructing something to see what it can become without that. Deconstructing it. So take, the framework that you agreed upon, whether it's a marriage or, something else. You're not married, but you live together and you have these agreement. Maybe you didn't write it down, but you talked enough that you believed you shared enough beliefs at the time, you created a framework. Well, as we grow and expand individually and the relationship grows and expands, it outgrows this or can outgrow this framework, especially if that framework has no elasticity to it, if it's very rigid, this permanence, stability, right? This expectation. If that isn't allowed to breathe, then why not? And in many cases, it's not. And you don't just, at least for me, it wasn't just, it's not about saying, well, let's make it more elastic because now you have a whole can of worms. But to say, okay, let's take this completely apart and say this no longer exists. This framework no longer exists. We are not obligated to say, I'll be home at 5, right? We're not obligated to anything. We're just not. Now we start over and see what happens because when it's allowed to breathe like a fire, it it can become something, there's my word, unimaginable.
Oh, yeah.
Where within this current framework that you're under, you're suffocating it. And perhaps the relationship becomes where there's no interaction at all anymore. It's just, we're done. And is that what we want? I mean, sometimes it's easier, sure, but what if you tried something else? And that's what I was talking about. Deconstruct it, take it totally apart and say, now,
Mhm.
here we are. I'm not
Yeah.
going anywhere. You're not going anywhere.
There you
What?
go. I
What
mean,
do we
it
do?
really, we do that with friendships. We come together, we don't have many rules, and then we just come and go, and I have friends that I do different things with. I travel with one and do this with one. Like I know that it's funny because I think that is really what most of my relationships are. They begin one way and then they deconstruct, and some fall away and some stay. So
Hmm.
being flexible and fluid with it is the key to good friendships without
Hmm.
lots of rules. And and now looking at a romantic relationship, we do put a lot of emphasis on that in our society and being together, and but you have to have room to do things and enjoy life. And
Hmm.
I think early on I felt like it's just some when you get married, it's just something you do, and then when you're married, you just get through life that way because you have somebody. But none of that worked out for me. Not exactly that way.
No, and it doesn't. I think we see that generally it doesn't work out for a lot of people.
Uh-huh.
And it's not because they got married too young or one of them is bad or both of them is bad or they chose poorly. It has nothing to do with that. It usually starts for the most part with this really great love and desire to be together and support each other. But as each person grows and the relationship grows, it can outgrow that.
Yeah.
And that's great, right? That's great. But what if you let it? What if you let that? What kind of bond could you have with this person? What kind of intimacy, honesty, support, freedom? What could you have? And I'm not sure that I know, right? But it certainly to me seems like a much, I don't know, more pleasant, joyful, and loving path to just process my fears around it
Mhm.
and let it rip. Let's
Yeah.
see,
Yeah.
right? Let's see what happens.
See
How
what
much can I love, right? How much can I do that? Yeah. And it's friendships too, right?
Yes,
I
because
mean,
I
it's
do
that
not
way
have the
too.
same friends. I've not ever had the same friends. They come and go, but I mean some stay longer, and I know people all over the place, but
Yeah.
it's not rigid.
No, it's if I say to you, look, I love you and you do not have to be or do anything for me to love you. Yeah. And so if you call me or you don't call me, or you answer my text or you don't, or you cancel a coffee date, or it doesn't, right? It doesn't matter, or accidentally run over my pet with your car, right? I don't, borrow my shirt and ruin it. There's nothing that you can do that's going to make me not love you. That's unconditional love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I see.
And not that many people have that. And it's a practice. It's something that feels good to me to
Mhm.
do, to
Mhm.
really understand that. Now look, she's perfect. He's perfect. This thing you got going on that you are angry about or resentful about or hurt or whatever it is, this is you. This is you having some limitation that has just been triggered. Find it, prove it false, and move on and watch your relationship with that friend, watch that just explode when you can go and say, oh my God, thank you
Yeah.
for ruining my shirt because here's what you showed me with that thing. And you had anguish about it. But let me tell you, I love you so much. Thank you. Right.
Yeah.
Hold on. Those are relationships I want to have. And that's what, we're doing. You and I have been practicing that for a
Yeah,
bit, as
I
friends.
practice that. Like there's not people treat me the way I treat them is what I see. And so, I have very few rules about life or friendship or anything. So it works out well. It feels good. Um, Practicing unconditional love with my children, with my family, my friends, and and with my partner. And that is interesting. I will say I do know one thing that I also notice, like in relationships, and I'm sure you'll get to it, but communication is very important, and but men and women communicate a little differently. So
Mhm.
I will say, I've noticed in that as well, like some of my friends that are masculine have a little more difficulty talking about their feelings and but not all of them, but some. And women can be, highly expressive and highly
Mhm.
emotional. So and it's funny, sometimes I can talk to a couple and the woman is explaining one thing, the man is explaining something else. I mean, there's a book, women are from Venus,
Venus,
men are from Mars.
Mars, women are
It's
from
sort
Venus.
of
Yeah,
it's sort of true. It's like, oh, that's really interesting. And I just laugh,
it
that's
does. It really does speak to that. And communication, and we talked about this in that first relationship class a little bit when it was said that it's challenging living this way because what we're used to is someone expressing their feelings and telling us all of the things that we must do and all the things that we must not do to avoid upsetting them. Yeah. So you have this blueprint for how to behave around Tami. As her boyfriend or her husband, I must always open the doors for her, and I must never go longer than an hour without returning her text. And I also always must call if I'm driving by a store because she might need something. Okay. It's just these things that we demand. And we think that that's communicating, but what happens is that communication shuts down when perhaps you attempt it in a little way and you're punished for it. You say, I really think I'd like to just take this morning by myself for a few hours. I need a little time alone. And it becomes a fight. It's, why would you not want to spend the day with me? What's going on? So we learn that we have to make someone else. So someone says that to me and I have this negative emotion. I get hurt. My feelings hurt because they want to be alone. And rather than seeing them as perfect and realizing this negative emotion I have is me, it's not you. And I say, okay, great, go do that. Absolutely. I love you. And you, even if I'm feeling angry and upset and hurt, then I walk away and I deal with what's going on with me and watch that stuff change in front. I think that's why people have trouble communicating, because they're practiced and learned of touching that hot stove. I know I've been like that. I don't like to talk about feelings, and I'm a girl. I don't want to do that. Because typically in my past history, it's turned into a fight, turned into an argument. It's turned into, I'm being accusatory. No, I'm just telling you that how I feel. Well, how I feel is going to change all the time when I do my work. So okay. And then eventually the communication can become about, this is what happened. This is what I processed. When you said you wanted to be alone. Well, I felt so much. You did? You were so nice about it. Well, I was, because I knew it wasn't you. And I want you to have everything you want. But here's what I found. I have this belief that blank. Now we can talk, right? Now we can talk and share, because now I'm vulnerable. I've talked about some limiting belief. I feel good. I realize it's not them trying to get away from me. It's them wanting something for themselves. And that to me that's communication.
Yeah.
I might be way off, but that's the communication I'm looking for there.
I think that having fun as a couple too, like making simple things fun, that's part of it too. It's not just communicating with words, but it's communicating with with your energy, and I mean, cooking, eating, doing things together that are playful. But yes, part of life is just simple little things.
Yeah. Yeah. Little interactions, caring enough about yourself and the relationship to pay attention to things that you do enjoy doing together,
Yes.
being really
Yeah, it's like
open to
when
trying
I'm with
something new.
you, we go down to Ybor City and we get coffee. We ride the bikes. I enjoy riding bikes, but all my friends don't enjoy riding bikes, and I don't make them ride bikes. I have some really good friends who don't know how to ride a bike, but
Me
that
too.
doesn't
I know.
change the fact that I love them. And
Yeah.
so, not letting go of judgment, just doing what, going with the flow, you know. Um,
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's right. You're right. That's communication as well. Having fun, laughing, listening, just listening without judgment. That was such a big thing that one of our dead people said in the dead talk was that real to be this intimate partner that allows freedom is to allow your partner to grow in unexpected ways. And if your partner wants to explore something new, to paint, to travel, it doesn't matter. Rather than clutching and asking why, or finding reasons for them not to, or making it about something else, you just stop and say, how can I walk beside you on your journey? And it may not mean that I sit in the airplane seat next to you. It may mean that I stay here and take care of some things in the home we share together, or I help you write a speech or find a publisher for your book or somebody to buy the art that you paint. It doesn't matter. But how do I walk beside you
Mhm.
in this journey that you're on? That's far more attractive to
Mhm.
me. And
Mhm.
I wonder what partner would leave someone that liberates them to that degree,
Yeah, I don't
right?
know. Liberation is great. I know a lot of my friends, when I travel, I've always traveled alone, and I have, and with friends, but I did not have a partner to travel with because the ones I had, it really was more than one, would not go with me. So I was somehow choosing partners that did not like to travel, did not like to fly. So I ended up having friends who like to travel. And it's so easy to travel with friends because there are no expectations and no difficulties.
Mm-mm.
Um, but I have lots of friends who are married who are my age that maybe I've known many. They'll ask me, "How do you do it?" I say, "I just get on a plane. I
Just
mean,
go.
I just do it." And you know, not that I've never had feedback that said, "Hey, you're gone too long," or but it was, I always didn't, I don't feel responsibility for their emotions either.
Mhm.
Let yourself off the hook for everybody else's emotions. I think that's part of being in the world in a balanced relationship, being balanced within. So,
Mhm. Yeah, I do too. That feeling something about what someone else is feeling is a tricky one. Yeah. Because we want our partner, say our romantic partner, to see us in certain ways, and we do love them and we want to support. So when they get annoyed, because I know in this last round you were gone for quite a while, right? You came down here to us for a few days, then it was the retreat for a week, and then back here for another week, and you were gone for quite a while, and it's lovely to be missed.
uh-huh.
And you have a partner that really does support you and finds his own things to do, right? Found his own trip to do while you were traveling. But that when you're doing something that you really feel called to do and you're having a lot of fun doing it, that sense that somebody else at home is giving you a hard time or being pouty or whatever it might be, um, you liberate them from that as well. You do work on your own stuff. Well, it makes me feel bad when you're at home unhappy and pouting. So now I feel bad. So you want to fuss at them for being that way with you. But again, that's exactly what they needed to do to show you what's going on with you. So just look at that and keep following your inspiration to do what you want. It's interesting. And
I mean, relationships are so good. I think there's one final thing I kind of will mention, like one thing that I've noticed, a lot of s- a lot of women, well, I don't know a lot of spiritual men, but I will say a lot of spiritual women, they get to a certain level and they stop dating. That is a pattern I've noticed, or you know, and they're not open. Um, and it's almost like the excuse is, I'm just working on myself. And how do you feel? I mean, in my opinion, romantic relationships are extremely valuable. And if you cut yourself off to that intimate part of yourself, I don't feel like you can make a lot of progress spiritually. I really don't.
I would have to agree. Um, I know you and I both spent a lot of time listening to Abraham, and Abraham always says, tuned in, tapped in, turned on.
Yeah.
And I always loved that phrase, but one time I heard Abraham talking about sex, and they said, well, that's the turned on.
Yes.
And I realized that that energy, just if to cut yourself off from dating, that's okay, right? That interaction. But to what I think what you're talking about is women sort of they shut down and they say, I'm
They
working on
do.
myself, and they
I feel
don't
like
do that either, right? They don't have that kind of interaction and any sort of sexual relationship or experience at all for years. I've seen it too. And it does disconnect us from an energy flow that I think is very important to discovering who we are, to flow in that energy. It does not mean you have to be in a committed relationship or that you have to do online dating and all these things, but to really shut that down and be not open even to any possibility for that is agreed. It is a very difficult to go on much of a spiritual path for long without flowing that energy, without
it
moving that
cuts
through you.
off your creativity is
Yep.
what I see.
Yep.
And once you open to that, or if you always are open to it, I think you're much more creative. That's just
A
what
hundred
you
percent. It's
instill into.
expressing yourself, right? Expressing your love. It's one way to do that. It's one way. So many hangups in society and so many things, and women think, well, I have to date someone for however long, and I have to be in love, and we have to be committed. They put so many parameters, and maybe dating isn't the thing for them right now, or another serious relationship, but that means they cut themselves off from all of it, and that's because this has to go with this, and if not, then I don't have this, and so they just shut down. Anytime you shut down any part of you, right? That's a tough one, but you're right. It's totally that creative flow. I think it's even sort of chakra related too.
Yeah, it is. I
Yeah.
mean, it is related to energy flow, energy. So there is a lot to that. But anyway, I'm sure those are topics that you'll kind of address even more in this
Maybe, yeah.
one.
The coaching series is 4 weeks. So I do have an arc for it and what each segment is about. They, as you know, just like this conversation, they can take off. And that's why it's coaching. I don't have a format necessarily. I sort of have a thread. We're going to look at this as the topic today, but it can go anywhere. It's
Mhm.
really about me learning, and learning where everyone is, and then seeing if I'm in that sort of inspired with a way an actual course on the topic would go. So we'll see.
Well,
It's
it's
all very
great. I'm
interesting.
looking forward to Wednesday.
It's fun.
And so we talked briefly. I've been sensing a lot of energy. Um, and I am a angelic magician, and I
Yep.
also do light language and activations, and we've had we've had a lot of major upgrades. I don't know if you have anything coming in for me, any kind of messages that briefly we can go over.
Interesting. So, the when you were telling me earlier that the messages and the things that you were seeing were coming, I do think it's really related to because this full moon, today's the 8th. Yesterday there was actually an eclipse,
Yes,
right? Am I right about that? Okay.
that's correct.
So there's there's something in that like streaming into your system. It's those downloads, those light codes, and they're doing exactly what right? Opening DNA and but it seems like it's a bit of a new a new phase in your path. Do you know what I mean? What it feels like is opening some things up, and you've you've had new thing after new thing, and
So
I
yeah,
know
this
that.
is
Right. But
this
this,
time I'm not resisting.
yeah, not right. It's just opening that. And so what's happened now, because your sensitivity is amplified, then you add this full moon and a lunar eclipse to it, it's at like a cosmic spotlight right on you. That's the way I see it. It's this cosmic spotlight. So um it's it's whatever's already been coming, this what's going on is just magnified. So those that's why it's not maybe a constant steady stream of energy, but more like surges
Yes.
that are coming. The reason is your sensitivity is magnified. The lunar eclipse and this solar phase this weekend is magnifying. Your body's not used to recognizing, right? So you just whoosh, it's just like a power surge when lightning hits. So it's just going to surge and you're to see a lot and go. It's interesting like that the way that sensation, like you're feeling it physically, right? Moving through you. And when you feel it physically, um, it's like both an activation and a clearing. And it feels like a current because what's happening is your system, your all the different bodies we have, which I was just talking to someone about that earlier today. But it's your the current feels like a current because your system's opening up little channels for more light to move. That's why we have these,
Oh, yeah.
right? Yeah. So it's just flowing where it needs to go and new channels have to be opened up and that's what's happening. And you're so sensitive you can feel it. You can just really feel it. It's great.
Oh, yeah. Since
It's
the retreat, I've had body pulses, feels like flows. And then yesterday it was swirls, like opening up. I could see. And then, and I was describing it. Um, it was almost symbolic, looking like the pi symbol, like that swirling energy. And I'm sort of feeling it in me. And my third eye seems to be activating even more. Like I've always been able to see things, but I was seeing solar fire, and these are new. And I'm a magician too, so I've been playing with magic, but this I've never seen magic like this, and so
it just I think every time you do an activation, which you do them with me, you receive an activation and you're doing all of this stuff. It's this think about that. You do magic, right? And that moon energy is really significant to you. So this moon energy, like right now, it's ancient memory that that's getting activated. It's like there's really no need to even put that meaning into words, right? It's just allow it to speak to your body because in all of this practice that you've done, you've honed it's a skill, right? It's fun, it's play, but you've honed this magic, right? The angel magic, and you're moving. So there's the light and the dark magic, right? It's all in there, all equally wonderful and beautiful. You have to have all of it. But this moon, right? That's really magnifying and it's activating and it's expanding your ability to see, to play. And it's definitely not stopping, right? It's just going to get
Oh yeah,
more
I always
intense and
love it
more
when you
intense
say
as long as
that.
that's what you
It's
want.
just more. It's just going to be more, more and
More.
more.
I think it's funny you said that the pi symbol. And I asked you before we got on, I said, okay, well, was it like the pi symbol, like the two lines and the thing like you see in math, or what was it? Because the very first reading I ever did for you, your guides used an actual pi
Oh,
as
that's
a
right.
description, right, for your gifts. And I just think it's funny
Should I
that
use that?
you're seeing that now in a different way. It's not an actual pie, but
No, no. It
it's
was
you're seeing,
swirling like in the round symbol, but it was energy. Yeah, I'm seeing more energy with my eyes, more codes.
yeah.
Or,
It's like it's almost like this moon, so I can kind of see it now. So whoops, it's like a silver white spiral. Like it looks like sort of like a shell, but luminous, but it's spinning and it's just all
Yeah,
light.
that's it.
So
It was
yeah,
light.
so it's like you're seeing that that's representing, I think what I'm seeing is that's representing this integration. Like it's it's bringing the symbols into you like daily, right? And in this in your life every day, really gently without overwhelming you, right? So that's sort of what this, and I think you're seeing the spiral now, right? That's that light spiral. Now you're seeing that. And that's actually, it's almost like that's what's doing it. That's what the moonlight is sending. That spiral is what's representing your integration, is what's bringing everything in just gently, easily, but now it's just constant, is daily life, right? This is quickly becoming your normal,
Mhm.
not your, ooh, neat, right? Is becoming your normal. Yeah. The
Yeah.
bland and the ordinary even has its miracles in it, but the ordinary and the mundane are just such a small part
Oh,
of
yeah.
your life and getting smaller.
It's
Yeah.
getting unimaginably magical.
Yeah. All the time.
Well, let's put our two words together. And
Yeah.
it's great. I have, I've played with it. And that's another thing. The joy, it's joy. If you really focus on joy, even if it's relationships, w- many people, I hear them all the time. They are only focusing on what's wrong in their relationship. They are not focusing on what's right. And that is the skill to develop because, you know, I don't care who you are, as imperfect as my partner is, so am I. Um, I can still find things to value about
Hmm.
every. I
Hmm.
mean, and if you had the worst partner in the world, and the worst romantic partner in the world, where are you being too hard on them or
Hmm.
treating them like they're a child or over mothering them? Or there's lots of ways that you can treat a partner, and maybe you were trained that way. And but it's
Yeah.
not the way that really the way that men or women are valued.
No.
If someone is constantly telling you you're doing everything wrong and you need to get out of the house or whatever, or whatever, if it's not the way to live, it's just not.
Mm-mm. Yeah, and most people aren't going to for very long, right? In that. So yeah, that's an old Abraham trick that was really good early on in my spiritual journey, which was just looking at positive aspects. It's very simple.
Positive aspects.
Just look at
There
that.
are
And
positive aspects.
um, it's a really good starter
What
tool.
about relationships that kind of need to end? I think some relationships, you do outgrow relationships,
Mhm.
honestly.
Yeah.
Friendships,
Yeah.
I don't have the same friends that I've always had.
No.
I have new friends,
Hmm.
but sometimes you you stay too long and you
Hmm.
know it. And
And you
that's
know it. Hmm.
and you know it. I mean,
Right. Yeah, I think, that's a little of what I'm talking about with the deconstruction. At some point you recognize that either you've both grown and expanded, the relationship has grown and expanded, and what might be a logical step to separate, or you stay so long that there's so much tension and negative emotion, right? So much resentment, so much stuff that it's just easier to throw the baby out with the bathwater, just get out and leave. And I do think always there can be times where it's not that you necessarily move on from it, but where it changes. Maybe you go from romantic partners who live in a house together to just becoming really great friends who love and support each other. Maybe you live in the same house, maybe you move down the block or somebody, but it's this idea that to change it is a failure, to shift the way it is a failure. And that's just not, that's not it. But to allow it to breathe, to just say, okay, well, there is something else I want to go to. There's so many different things. I know White Light said to us at the retreat, connecting more doesn't just mean connecting with people and things and places outside of you. It's connecting in here.
Yes.
And sometimes a stronger connection can actually look like goodbye.
Yeah.
They said that. And I understand that. There are times when you just say, okay, thank you and I love you, but please step aside. There's somebody behind you, you
Uh-huh.
know? Yeah.
I had that
Yeah.
conversation with my grandson this weekend. His girlfriend broke up with him, and
Hmm.
I'm like, well, thank you next.
Yeah,
That's
next, right? It's okay. And
yeah,
you can grieve and you
yeah,
can mourn and we do feel loss in physical reality and that argument that there is no loss, I understand it esoterically, but in physical reality, it's just we do feel like we lose things. But again, it's all the reason we're sad or the reason we feel that is because something's going on within us.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're always connected to source.
Hmm.
That divine union is what really balances you. Once you get that, you stop seeking outside as much. And the
Hmm.
practices. So all of your I mean I really love all your classes and all the work you do. And I encourage everyone to get a reading or work with Christy. She's amazing. And
Thank you. I so much love all of your support and all the new stuff you're doing. You support everything I do, and I can't thank you enough. I love you so much.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
go give your beautiful daughter a big kiss and
Okay. Happy birthday to
happy
her.
birthday. So
Yeah.
she's
Thank you, honey. This has
amazing.
been so much fun. Thanks for asking me. Love you.
See you later.
Bye.